morning on this sunny yet very windy morning. They say 20 degrees. I'm sitting here with my down jacket on just to feel cozy because we have got a lot of wind and the chill factor does not say 20 degrees, that's for sure. But no hat, so you can see my hairdress. As the headline says, Rick Simpson oil. I've been looking around and I'm lacking a lot of the good stories that tells how well it works. There are every now and then people say, oh, I've done it and it works, but it's already cluttered up by a lot of other information. Like for instance, people are doing chemotherapy or radiation, and then they have been given up, and then they're starting the RSO. And so you don't really know whether it is the entourage effect of the chemotherapy and the RSO that actually does it, or is it the RSO alone that does it. And so there's a lot of confounding factors that makes it impossible to say. And I'm really lacking the stories from people like me who has done nothing at all in the public system and then done something that shows that there's a high probability that that is what worked. And I'm saying it this way because even if I do go down the road and I prove that RSO is working, or FICO as I like to prefer to say it, full extract cannabis oil is working, then I wouldn't know either, because I'm doing it in conjunction with so many other things that the entourage effect of that might be the reason why it works. While if you were just doing the full extract cannabis oil, then you wouldn't have the same result. So there's a lot of uncertainty about it. But I think one of the mistakes is, when I was starting out, I initially heard that CBD was the way to go. That was just the overall kind of clutter I heard out there when I did a very quick research. And so the first thing I got was CBD oil. I didn't want anything with THC. I did not want the high. I was afraid of the high, to be honest. But I wasn't in need of that anyway for cancer treatment. But then I started to dig a little bit further, and I came across the before mentioned Rick Simpson oil, RSO, and he allegedly cured skin cancer using an oil that is named after him because he was the one that really made people aware of it. He's not the inventor of it, so to speak, as far as I understand. He's just the one who made people aware of the fact that there are some cancer-fighting properties with cannabis. But he is adamantly promoting high THC levels, and that's what does it, high THC levels. And when I realized that, I changed my recipe and I started aiming for just buying the strains with the highest THC. And when I did see somebody mentioning ratio, they was talking 4-to-1 ratio, where 4 was THC to 1 CBD. And so that's what I've been using. So adding the fact that I've been using a substandard, for medical purposes anyway, Rick Simpson oil, and I've mentioned that in the other videos. For those who haven't seen that, what I'm talking about is that I've been using ethanol extraction. And by ethanol extraction, I have basically eradicated everything called THCA, CBDA, CBNA, and whatnot, all the A's, because they're the precursors for the THC and CBD and all the other three-letter things. I've eradicated all that, and that happens in the decarboxylation where I'm activating the THC or the CBD. But I've also degraded the terpenes massively, because I've been spending maybe an hour doing distillation at 78 degrees, which is the boiling point of ethanol, and then we have a degradation happening already at about 30 degrees Celsius for the terpenes, and the terpenes plays a role as well. After that, I've done the decarboxylation, which is at 140 degrees, 105 degrees Celsius, and I've done that for another hour, 45 minutes sometimes. So there's a huge amount of time where I've just reduced the quality of my terpenes. Now, adding the fact that I've apparently been doing it in the wrong ratio, and the reason why I'm saying I'm doing it in the wrong ratio is because I've been doing some testing lately, and I've noticed that before. I just didn't put much attention to it, but I've noticed that every time I'm doing a dosage of cannabis with high THC levels, my body stresses off. My quality of my sleep is bad, my stress levels are high, I do not get proper rest. My sleep score is down. My heart rate is elevated. And when you know that some of the fundamentals by good health is that you do get a good night's sleep, that you do reduce your stress levels, then by definition, high THC levels of cannabis cannot be healthy. It cannot be promoting anyway something good for the cancer fight, because you're compromising something else that is fundamentally important as well. And I'd rather go by what nature provides me than I'll go by what you could say to a certain extent synthetic things provides me, because at the end of the day it's a processed product. I know that the plant is natural, although it has been bred for certain purposes. It is a synthetic product that I've ended up with. It's not something I go out and pick in nature. While my sleep and my stress levels is something that I with simple meditations and just chill out, relax, can reduce. So I have now changed that, so I'm doing a 4:1 ratio of CBD to THC, and I've made my own little cocktail made from hydrocarbon extraction, which seems to be much cleaner than my ethanol extraction, despite the fact that I'm actually doing everything in the book. I'm doing 200 micron filtration initially by the extraction. I'm doing winterizations, and I'm doing a 22 micron vacuum filtration as a final step when I'm doing the ethanol extraction. So it's as clean as it probably can get in a home environment. So I'm very surprised to see when I compared a 20% solution from a hydrocarbon extraction with a 20% solution of ethanol extraction, and the taste too. Two very, very different worlds. So I'm sure that the things I'm doing right now is a much higher quality, but testing it as a daytime oral version, I realized that I do get a little bit of a high on the cocktail I've made, but that's because I've been combining Sour Super Haze with a strain called Royal Queen. Royal Queen has got a pretty high THC level, but it is a 3:1 ratio that I've mixed those in. So that's 3 CBD and 1 ratio Royal Queen. But I've taken it because it's got CBN as well, and I think that could have some good benefits for me. So I do get a little bit of a high, but the high ratio of CBD doesn't make it too much, but I get sleepy. So I tested it out and used it for the night time, and it seems to work perfect. So given the result I've seen on the impact using THC versus CBD, I definitely say that something is wrong. You might be able to use it topically, and there might be reasons why you can use it for skin cancers, I don't know. But I don't think in general terms for cancer use that you want to have a high THC level versus CBD levels. You want it the other way around. You want CBD predominantly, and then you want THC. But obviously you also have to make sure you get the CBDA and THCA, and you have to make sure you get some pure terpenes as well. And this is where I think we are lacking all the good stories on the RSO, is because it is substandard levels, and obviously those are very susceptible to the properties of these cannabinoids, and they might provide us with a good story every now and then, but I think more people could provide with more stories if we just had the proper product. So anyway, this is just my recent findings on the RSO. Working my way through my strains and working my way through the process of refining it. My centrifuge unfortunately does not work as I wanted it to. I thought I could actually separate the THC from the terpenes in a regular tube, because you can do that with solids, but it seems that you need a centrifuge doing more than 7,000 RPMs, and mine only does 4,000 RPMs, and where the place that I ordered it, they only sell up to 4,000 RPM, so I don't know how to do this. Now, the video that I used as a reference point, he was using a 4,000 RPM machine, so I know it can be done unless he's lying, but I've checked up the number in the machine, and it seems to be a 4,000 RPM machine. It's not the same brand, but he's using these insert filters in the tubes but they're very hard to get my hands on. So I'm still trying very hard to see that. Otherwise, I've got myself a very expensive paperweight. That's all I got. But I need that, because as it is right now, when I decarboxylate 2/3 of my resin, then I'm also degrading the terpenes. Now, to by no means, by no extent, to the same degree that I degraded it during the ethanol extraction, but I still like, when I have the opportunity to make it perfect. So I do hope that I can solve the problem with the centrifuge. As always, stay happy and healthy. Until next time.